foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran the jewels. Then y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude. But you can't really blame this motherfucker. It's doing what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that finish, what I started, I'm about that.
Top down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Know that I'm about it. Want a man I can bring the drama, but it ain't by chance I'm fucking rapping. You don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping like homie starving. Yeah, y'all gotta ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Top down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Yes, we do. We own the night, and there is only two of us today. And I think, Michael, when you look at it, take a peek outside, it's not looking so good here in the village of East Palestine. I think the rain has scared a lot of people off, and we're hopefully we'll get some people throughout the show. But Mike, when you look outside, you warned me a little bit earlier, and you said, "Hey, there's rain coming," and I kind of said, "Well, not a whole lot we could do about it. You just kind of you go as you go, and you do what you can do." And how you feeling about games tonight on the network, buddy?
I don't know. You told me Bobstein Park is almost invincible to the rain sometimes, even if it is like this, as we finally get the yourself in here.
There we go.
I swear, it was like a blizzard or some sort of. It was insane rain. It's blowing left and right. I think Ron said something along the same lines in Running Point. I actually texted you after we finished playing 9 holes at the Firestone at Columbia, and lightning and everything was coming in. So I didn't know if we're going to cancel games or not, DJ. But, you know, you can only hope for baseball. Fingers crossed we get a couple Class B games tonight.
Yeah, not looking good. I put out a little bit of a reach to Steve Leslie and Scene Park to make sure that we're the first to know whenever it does come down decision one way or the other. And if we don't hear anything, we will, after this show, make our exit to Struthers, Ohio. But there sometime is a Scene Park bubble over top of Bob Scene Park that everywhere else naturally gets wet, but Scene Park. And that's why I don't want to jump to any conclusions or anything. So we haven't heard anything yet. But we do have some incoming people at the bottom of our screen. There you can see there at the bottom. It is Quinn and EB live from Indianapolis. Looks like you guys finally got on Wi-Fi. And congratulations, EB, for waking up.
Hey, no problem.
How's Wi-Fi better? It sounds like you're not delayed as much.
Yeah, we're in the hotel this time. I'm not getting chased, so.
Not getting chased by a homeless guy. That's always a good thing. So, guys, we're going to talk a lot about the COVID situation at several different levels. You guys are at the forefront because you are having a tournament right now in the midst of a pandemic, and everything seems to be closing around you, and you guys kind of have the umbrella up like, you're not going to touch us. How has it been from top to bottom for the tournament? Have people been willing and working together to make sure that you can accomplish this tournament, or has it been a little bit of pulling your hair out?
I think it's gone pretty smooth, actually. The Indy Star just did an article on us, not us, but the tournament, Wednesday. And anything that I've seen online as far as Twitter, like there's been a lot of positive feedback for how we've handled everything. Granted, it's easy when you have a whole convention center. You can air wall off and do 2 courts, and we have clickers or counters to where we keep it 250 in each room. And when you're walking through, everyone has to have a mask. Everyone keeps a mask on, other than I believe it's the players and coaches. So for something of this size, where you've had 400 or 500 teams, it's gone smooth in my eyes. And I think from the feedback that I've seen on Twitter and just comments on the article they did, everyone's been super pleased with it. So it can be done. It's not the super norm that we're used to, but it's, just got to adjust on the fly a little bit, and people comply pretty well. I haven't had any problems. I don't think Q's had any problems. It's gone extremely well in my eyes. So that's how my take on it.
Are you guys like creating the mold for this? I mean, whose lead are you taking? Are you taking temperatures? I mean, all the things that we hear in the news. Do you have to do that, or is it just people are self temperature taking, or however they're putting it? And if they have any symptoms, they're asked to leave or things of that nature. I mean, do you feel comfortable in this situation? Do you feel good about what's happening? Naturally, I mean, it sounds like you do, but I just want to kind of validate.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's a ton of paperwork. Like, I've filled out more forms for all this stuff. So the girls and their parents have to sign off on waivers. Gotcha. We have to present hard copies. They have to do it online. Then we sign waivers before every game saying that everyone on our team is okay, i.e. we've checked temperatures. Everyone's not showing symptoms, the whole 9 yards. Gotcha. And then so before every game we have that, and then outside of that, the paperwork side of things, I think this has done anything for the AAU side, it's eliminated some things or made things more seamless as far as cashless entry, players coming in. It's streamlined a few things to where last year kind of sucks for Quinn and I, where it would be our job for player check-in, but now we're just doing it all through apps and with barcodes, and people are doing it before they get there, so you don't have long line. Create certain walks, so you're keeping that distance at all times, and you're eliminating just really herds of people as much as you can. I'd say I don't know if this is going to be the new norm, more or less, but I think with this event we've shown we can do this, and even with everything else going outside, we can still have sports. We can, the crowds aren't as big, but we can put on an event with 400, 500 teams who are flying in all throughout the country, and we haven't had any problems at all. So it can definitely be done. And with that being said, I don't know what it's going to do for people moving forward, but it's definitely something that's worked out in our favor so far.
I was just going to ask you, is this sustainable at different levels? Is this something that they could, the Big Ten, college football, high school football, they could take a page out of your playbook here and look at the contactless, cashless system and the clickers that you guys are using to make sure that there's only so many people in, as opposed to physical tickets. I mean, is there a situation where someone can piggyback off of what you're doing right now in Indianapolis, here in Ohio?
Oh, I would say so. I mean, it was Quinn and I the first day here. We were hanging up QR codes all throughout the hotel, and all people had to do was scan it with their camera. It took them to a website, and it's pretty foolproof. Like, hey, you just need to do this, insert your information. Once they paid, they would go to the room where we were at. We would scan with our phone or an iPad their barcode that they got, and it would do everything behind the scenes for us. Like, hey, these people have already come in. So you can't have people trying to cheat the system because they're already I guess lotted in. Now, I mean, nothing's perfect. You still had some of those people who are like, well, I didn't know what to do, so I just hit it like 3 or 4 times. Well, I'm sorry, you just got charged $200. You just hit it once. Let things do the work. But you're gonna, no matter what. So on that side of things, it's worked. Now, the big complaint you would probably see here is none of the concession stands are open. So I think that would be, if you would throw like a Big Ten event or something like that, like that's a huge moneymaker. So those places aren't going to be like, yeah, we're not going to have concession stands. So however that would work, I'm not sure. But, as of right now, we have the event. It's working out well. It's good to have these kids and these girls back playing. They're shaking off their rust. They're getting back in the flow of things. So it can be done. It's going to be one of those step by step. We figured out the entry. We can do the event now. It's probably going to be, what do you do for the concession stands? What do you do for this? So we're getting there. It's definitely happening. What happens next? Don't ask me, but.
Well, we're going to ask you, and literally we're going to solve all the world's problems right here in this hour with this question being asked, will we play? And the secondary question, guys, at what cost? Michael, you've been quiet so far. Let's go to you. Your opinions on will we play, and at what cost will we or won't we play?
I think I'll answer the question first, will we play? And I unfortunately think that in terms of college football, at least, no, we will not play, because two conferences, and it's going to be three by the end of the week for sure, are going to make the decision to go conference only. I don't think they're going to get approved to have double-digit conference games like the Big Ten and Ohio State's AD Gene Smith is pushing for. The Big 12 and SEC don't want to make decisions until the end of July, and, a lot of things are starting to reopen. And we've seen this huge spike in cases, not just in these big states like Florida and Texas, but, all over the country, all over the world. We're starting to see the second spike in cases here in this month of July. And I think that only makes things worse for college football, at least for the NCAA. I don't think that they have college football in the fall. I think they move to the spring. But, DJ, you said it, and it came up on the Power Hour. Could the Power 5 separate and create their own sort of collegiate athletic association and play at their own terms? And I think that there is a pretty decent cost to if we will play.
So I guess the better question, Mike, is you said we're not going to play. So what is the cost if you don't play? Are we going to see big time opportunities for smaller schools to step into big shoes? Are we going to see these schools that when they don't play, people won't go there, obviously? If other schools are playing, people are more interested in playing than they are about, what color uniform they wear. What's the cost if they don't play college football? What's the cost if we don't play high school football at this level?
I think that there's a bigger chance you don't play college football than high school football. But if you don't play high school football in the fall, I think that's a huge step back for the OHSAA, because we've been talking about it for the past week, DJ. You and I, and probably Quinn, we all three know this. That's their biggest moneymaker right there. I would say maybe over 50% of the revenue from the OHSAA is made during football season. So I think that's a big hit until you get football back in the spring. Same thing goes for college football. At the NFL level, I think that in some capacity you're going to have a football season. But when you look at the collegiate level, I think that the lack of in-person classes, if any at all, is going to be a huge factor into taking away the college football season, because no in-person classes, I think that is a little too much to ask of both the students that are going to not be staying on campus, that are coming from all over the country, and at the high school level, the kids that don't have the ability or they don't have a ride to make it to these practices. If they have the practices, I think that it's a bigger threat to the high school and college football levels that you don't have a season. It's going to take a huge cost out of, the revenue brought in by these schools and, college football level by the country. We all know football is a huge moneymaker, but I think that the best chance we have at college football is that Power 5 separating from the NCAA this year, and for good, to have some sort of a spring season, I believe.
So interestingly enough, Michael, you've really broken down the fourth wall of the internet here, because you're on two screens. You're on my screen, very, very, very little. Where is he? Over here. Yeah, you see him waving. And you're on your own screen. So we're trying to make this place look like huge and like a palace. And here you are right behind me. That's how you set up. There he goes.
Like Palace, DJ.
There we go. I feel like I'm on a really bad episode of MTV Cribs. And we're showing off our digs here. Q, talk to me about, do you feel we're going to play, and at what cost will we play?
Yeah, I think you're going to play. It's from a business side, it's just too much money that you're going to lose out on. They're going to have to play. That's how they do it. I don't know, because you start going by conferences and stuff like that, then you lose out on, like, what does Notre Dame do? They're not in a conference for football, I don't think, are they?
I
No,
think
they're
that,
not.
I've heard they're going to move to the ACC.
I mean,
That's-
everything else is
it's
everything else is in
fine
the
if they go
ACC,
conference only.
right? But how do they join a conference because they want to play football?
I think that what I've heard from a lot of, I've been watching ESPN a lot. DJ knows this. I'm into ESPN and all that stuff. Apparently that's type of sports not locally gets too much of my attention, but it's essentially a done deal. 1 year joining of the ACC for Notre Dame. So it's going to be weird, but
It's garbage. I mean, that's a garbage deal on both
I agree
sides.
with that. I agree that.
So then,
it
what
is-
do you do with the other schools? What do you do with Navy? What do you do with all those other ones that are in that independent?
They're
Exactly.
going to have to find a conference. The ACC is way too stacked, I think. For
Notre
them to
Dame
join a
create their own
conference. I think that
conference.
you're probably looking at the Pac-12 and the Big 12 for a couple of those schools. I think Army. If I
Where
had
are
to
you
take
going
a
to put
Big
Navy?
12, Navy. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to have to look at the geographical locations of these schools and make the best possible
It's
decision.
West Point. I mean, that's
Where are you going to put Army? Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
Navy's in Maryland,
Maryland?
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they're in Annapolis, Maryland.
they would actually fit better in the Big Ten than they would anywhere else.
I don't know. They play a lot of ACC schools though in the regular season compared to other conferences.
Well,
which is-
because they don't want to play the
plus,
Big Ten.
plus they got. I think that it makes more sense because they had basketball in the ACC as well. I think that was a huge
I
deciding
think
factor.
we're seeing a little love connection with Michael McKenzie in the ACC.
Here we go. I'm joining out.
What are you? What is happening right now?
I don't know. He's taking over post.
He is taking over
I am
the
taking
Power Hour again. We've had this talk 2 days in a row, and Michael continues to take over the power. He just does what he wants. He just goes wherever he wants. He does what he wants. 15, 16 years old. My man is just an orchestra conductor. He's unbelievable. EB, let's get back to centered here, right? Let's get back to will we play, and what do you think the cost is going to be if we do or if we don't?
In some shape or form, we will. You have to. I mean, high school wise, football's a moneymaker. The OHSAA already lost $2 million by not having the wrestling, girls basketball, boys basketball tournament. So they're already in the red. And, whoever's really the interim director is probably going to be like, it's going to be his, if he does this, that's going to be his name to become the full-time director, I guess. I don't know about college. I try not to get caught up listening to ESPN and all these people because it's just clickbait. I mean, they it's like the news. They give you the power words because they just want to keep you interested, and it's the same thing over and over. A lot of these people, I think, they jump the gun too soon because the story and narrative is going to change in a week. So, they're currently running a basketball tournament in Columbus, and they've had zero issues with it. So maybe why did we go from having football with no fans to no football now? So it's just a different week, a different story. NFL, I guess you have a little more control over that to where these guys make millions of dollars. Like they can take a hit or they can take a lesser of a season. But these college kids, that's not only money out of universities' pockets. The NCAA is probably looking at this. We lost our biggest moneymaker of the year with NCAA March Madness. Now we're not going to have football. I'm a firm believer in, just follow the money trail and you'll find the answers. So I think when it all push comes to shove, there's going to be something because these businesses need a source of revenue, and that source of revenue controls a lot of different things. So I'm not sure what it'll be, but I do feel in some shape or form there will be a football season, high school, college, and NFL.
So when you look at that, EB, I guess the question then becomes, when the first domino falls, and it inevitably will, what do you think will happen? Do you think it will be shut everything down, or do you think it'll be, like they've suggested, team-by-team basis, this team's out for 14 days, this team's out for 14 days. If you have a 10-game season, that is a fifth of your entire season right there. And heaven forbid you test positive twice, and then you're out almost half your season. Do you think there's a huge cost in what could be, having a season just to have a season?
I mean, probably. I think a lot of people would do just conference games like high school because that's 7. So that allows you to put some space in between I guess, a regular season game. And I know it's probably easier said than done from the get-go. Why not just give everyone the antibody test to see if any of these kids have had it, and then work it backwards?
Yeah.
So, hey, if you haven't had it, okay, we're going to require you to, do testing or whatever. I don't understand this nasal swab test, because we can literally do a mouth swab and figure out your whole life story.
Yep.
But now we're shoving things down the nose because it does something more prolific than just getting saliva. So I'm not sure with that, but if you can get it down to just a mouth swab, then testing gets.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I don't understand any of that. This 23andMe garbage that everybody gets for a Christmas present now. They can figure out who your ancestors kissed for the first time in 1825, but now they've got to stick a swab halfway to your brain and figure out if you got a coronavirus. I'm with you. I don't understand that at all. I'm glad somebody brought that up other than me, because I'm sitting here by myself like, what are we doing here? I'm not an expert by any means, but there's got to be a better way to do it.
And it's just, there's no perfect way to do it. So no one knows. Like, I guess if I had to guess out there, like, what football be this year, it's just going to be conference games, and they'll put together some sort of play. And that's probably, and then NFL, who knows what the NFL will do, It depends on Roger Goodell's mood, I guess.
It depends on how many M&Ms he eats that morning.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about a little more of that with the hashtag I Want a Season when we come back. The OHSAA is all in on this hashtag. We're also going to talk about more dropouts in Major League Baseball from the coronavirus. And then this is an interesting comment that a Major League Baseball player had, and it's on ESPN.com. Spitting is like blinking. You don't even realize you're doing it. So is there some concern about Major League Baseball and not being able to follow the rules? And if, let's say, ESPN catches them spitting and nobody else does, if a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear it? We'll find out, and we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about esports taking over the world right now during the coronavirus. And then we'll talk about the 2021 MLB schedule being released. Yes, 2021, next year's schedule being released. Why do we care? We'll ask Michael. And then, of course, we will have the G. Berbick Farms What's Your Beef? All that and more coming up on the YSN Power Hour, powered by the awesome sponsors that we have. We thank you all so much, and we look forward to hearing from you right after the break.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Today in the showers, I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
And welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. On to this side of me, it is Quinn Pushkar and Eric Bailey. And to the bottom, in the YSN studios in downtown East Palestine, completely separate from where I am, not really, is Michael McKenzie.
We couldn't be in more different places right now.
We look like we're in different places. It's way better than you being over my shoulder like the angel and the devil thing.
The breaking of the fourth wall has done.
Yeah, it's over. So if we could just get that first 20 minutes out of the way, nobody watches that 20 minutes. They don't understand that YSN is a palace. Like, so much room, so much space here.
Bigger than the ESPN headquarters.
So much space for activities. Guys, there is a hashtag out there that the OHSAA is pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's hashtag I want a season. And what they're imploring all the coaches and everybody that wants a season to do is wear a mask. Now, this is my question to you. If they do all of this and everybody wears a mask like they are supposed to in situations, and they don't have a season, do you feel like this is going to have a backwards effect on the OHSAA and the pushing of the hashtag I want a season? We'll start first with Michael McKenzie. Mike, what do you think?
I think that wherever you go, you're not going to have 100% people complicit with these wearing the mask to have a season rules. There's always going to be these few poked holes everywhere with people not wearing a mask and people not following the social distancing guidelines that will eventually lead to a little bit of a spike in cases. But if you've got a lot of people wearing a mask and you don't have a season, yes, I think it has this sort of reverse effect, because a lot of people, the people that want a season, do everything that the OHSAA asks of them. They adhere to these social distancing guidelines. They wear a mask nearly everywhere they go. And we don't have a we don't have a high school football season, I should say. We're staying inside, and we don't have football until the spring again. Yes, there's going to be some backlash against the OHSAA because this hashtag I want a season is going to be completely thrown out the door. All this campaigning, wear a mask to have a season, just gets thrown by the wayside, even if we have all these people complicit.
All these great points you have, and the only thing that I can look at is these two wiggle dicks up there, just with their masks.
No, they're making the great point right now. Wear the mask.
No, they're not.
Begin the campaign.
They look like they're ready to rob a train. Is what they look like right now. Guys, you got the masks on. Talk to me about. I mean, do you feel like this is a huge opportunity that if the OHSAA and I want a mask, or I want a season, I want a mask.
Don't want a mask.
If they all get on board, do you think this will help? And do you think it backfires on them if they don't have a season?
It's on you, boss.
No, that's on you. I don't know. I can't keep wearing it though.
So yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of confused, like, what this I want a season wear a mask thing has to do. Like, is he talking about just wear a mask, like, when you go to the grocery store, or is he
just wear?
I don't see, like, I don't see the purpose behind it, because we're running.
I don't either, really.
They never really came out and said anything about it, about where they want you to wear a mask. What they asked you to do is to start taking pictures of your teams wearing a mask. And to your guys' point, you're running an entire showcase essentially with the AAU, and nobody on the floor is wearing a mask, but everybody else is. So who are they trying to target with this marketing campaign? Because all it's going to take, and I hate to be the devil's advocate, all it's going to take is one person that hyperventilates and passes out from wearing a mask to this goes all backwards. Am I wrong?
Right. No, I think you're absolutely right. I just didn't understand the wear the mask thing, but I haven't really watched too much, I guess, of the governor in Ohio in the past week. But I don't know. To me, it was like, take a picture of your team in their mask. Here's your gold star. Bravo. Like, does that mean, like, if your whole team takes a picture in a mask, they're okay to play, or do you still have to, like, keep abiding by all these rules? So yeah. I don't. I mean, we make them all wear a mask into the convention center and while you're walking around, but once they hit the court, they're good to go. Which I think a lot of these girls look at it as, well, if wearing a mask into the building is what I have to do to play, then I'll do it.
And I love that. I can get behind that, right? These kids are going to do whatever it takes to play. These coaches are going to do the same. The problem I'm going to have is when that rug. You ever see the video of someone trying to pull the dinner table, the cloth right off the dinner table? I feel like it's going to end that way. Someone's going to try to pull it out, and everybody's going to get hurt, because nobody wants to have another spring season where everything gets pulled right from under their feet. And especially if it's football and volleyball, and there's some serious. This is how you kick off a year. Your whole year is based off what you do in the fall. It gives you the allowance of revenue and things that you can do for your teams. I mean, I've heard that stories of entire property taxes have been paid off for one football game in the playoffs. That's how important this is to schools. So when you're looking at it and you go, okay, it's just about sports. No, that if it was just about sports, guys, I think that the fight would be over. You know, people care about sports, but it's about revenue. It's about revenue generation. And if you can pay off taxes, if you can pay off books and you know, some of the debt that you have to run a school, which in turn, I know people don't want to hear this, is a business, then you're in a good place. If this was just about sports, this thing would be nipped in the bud 2 months ago.
Yeah,
good point.
I agree with it.
When we take on to the next, let's take it to the next level, right? The national level. More dropouts coming from Corona. Buster Posey now saying that he's not going to play Major League Baseball for the San Francisco Giants, citing that he has adopted 2 twin daughters and he feels like it's basically it's a threat to them. So my question to you is, how much is too much? What names have to drop out before baseball throws this away and says, yeah, this is a failed experiment? And if that happens, is baseball DOA?
I think the big names that have to truly bring attention to these guys dropping out from Corona are the guys that bring in the money. Clayton Kershaw, Mike Trout, even if Harper's really overrated. Clayton Kershaw did, or Mike Trout?
I heard Trout said he's not comfortable with the situation. So if Mike Trout drops out, what happens?
If Trout officially drops out, I think he just meant, you know, he's thinking about it at least. Has he made a full decision? I'm not aware that he has made the final decision that he's going to drop out.
No, but he's not leaning in the right direction that you want him to play baseball.
Yeah, he says it. He's gone. You talk about these teams losing their top players, like the Giants and Buster Posey. I mean, sure, they have Brandon Crawford, but those guys are not nearly as important as the Giants franchise catcher who has brought home 3 chips for that team. You talk about all these teams losing the huge pieces that make them somewhat good of a good baseball team. That is when you got to start thinking, you know, these guys are dropping out. Now we're relying on minor league players that are in AAA that are only playing because they were given the chance to, because the minor league season got nipped in the bud.
I would love that. I would love rooting for a minor league guy. Oh yeah.
I would love to be rooting for Cabrian Hayes playing over at third base for 1 year and watch him go back and play AAA ball in 2021. I would love to see some of these AA guys from the Altoona Curve come up and play, even if it's terrible for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I want to see some of these guys in a major league uniform. But if you're seeing that all over the league, I think that's when you got to start getting real and saying, you know, this might not be the time to go back.
See, I disagree with you. I think the game is always going to be bigger than any particular player. I mean, Michael Jordan moved on. The game moved on without Michael. The game's going to move on without LeBron. The game will move on without whoever the third baseman is for the freaking Pirates now. That's not Cabrian Hayes. So when you look at it, the game is always going to be bigger. And there's no better proof in the pudding concept than what we're doing right now with the Class B League. Our ratings are through the roof. We have 3,000 people a night tuning in to watch Class B baseball, and it doesn't matter what age group it is, 14, 16, 18. People just want to see sports and see baseball. So that's my argument is I don't care who shows up in training camp. I don't care who drops out. I care that the game goes on. I care that there's something to be played. If they want to, you know, put on the single A catcher from the Indians or it doesn't matter to me. Like, put him in there and let's go. Let's play the game. If he stinks, he stinks. And if he doesn't, fantastic. Then he broke through in an opportunity when opportunity knocked. Guys, do you feel the same way? Do you feel like no matter who drops out, the game should still go on? Or do you want those headliners to really feature the name?
Well, you know, you got the 2 biggest baseball fans right here with the 2 of us.
Absolutely.
We can't get enough. It's outstanding. But the game will go on, whether or not it's.
Well, I'm talking about basketball too, Quinn. It could be. I mean, you guys have basketball season to worry about.
I'm addressing baseball first because I love baseball. And to talk to Michael about the Pirates and the Altoona Curve, it doesn't matter. The Pirates stink anyway, so it could be whoever.
I thought the Pirates were the home team.
Yeah, so did I. They're the Yankees farm team. But I know a guy down in East Palestine. He played catcher at Westminster. So if the Giants want to make a call, I mean, I know a guy that could be a catcher for a year.
And he's got two twins at home, and he will play.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, who cares? Baseball's going to play anyway, and oh well. But I think basketball's going to go on. I mean,
Yeah.
basketball is a little different, I guess, because I think it kind of needs those big-time stars like LeBron, Kevin Durant, those guys to play. But
if LeBron tested positive right now for COVID, would it be worth watching to you?
Yes.
Yes, because I'm a basketball-minded guy. But to like a casual fan, probably not. Just because it's not, you lose that high-flying superstar, basically.
I would still watch because I'm a basketball fan, and sort of like you would still watch baseball because you're a baseball fan. But I think if you would lose, we'll say LeBron, Durant, and whoever else, the big time names, Kawhi, Giannis. Now you lose a lot of your younger youth, and I think that's where I guess in a sense that's where you don't really build as much of a brand. Sort of like,
yeah, you lose your marketability in that, at least in basketball.
Baseball is kind of a dying sport right now because they don't have a younger generation who's really into it. They haven't caught in the eye of the young guys yet. And basketball, I think if you would lose those guys, you would start to see the same thing happen because it's not just a basketball player, but LeBron's going to be in Space Jam. Kids drink Gatorade because LeBron drinks Gatorade. They wear Nike because LeBron wears Nike. It's
Do you think there could be a replacement player for that for just the end? I mean, what would this be? A month, 2 months at tops, to be able to utilize. If LeBron tests, and we want to say it's a major if, he did not. We're just putting this case scenario in. If he tested positive and he couldn't play, he's out of the bubble. He's not getting back in. It's like that Simpsons episode where if you're out, you're out. If you're in, you're in. When you look at it, could basketball survive without LeBron James for 2 months?
I think it
I mean, yeah, they could survive without LeBron, without other guys. But like we said, if you lose those top 10 known players or whatever, you lose Zion and all those guys. Like, I don't think it would survive.
Not this year. I mean, you would survive this year because it's just unusual circumstances. Mm-hmm. So people would still watch just because they're feeding for something, a sport that they need something. So people would still be watching it. I mean, the basketball tournament or the TBT is probably killing it right now because they're allowed. So great decision on their part for pushing forward and making this happen. I think if you lose LeBron for 2 months, people would just be like, well, it's only 2 months. I'd rather see a full season of them next year anyways. So
let's go back to the TBT for a minute, guys. I mean, you're in the know with that, and I've had other conversations about the TBT, and what I've heard is that there were kind of rules bent a little bit so that way they could get the TBT in for the week. Your thoughts on that? Do you have any insight? Am I completely off my rocker here?
Actually, so one of my buddies is I don't know, Quinn's whispering things, and I'm not sure what he's trying to say.
He does that all the time.
One of my buddies,
sweet nothing,
GM for Mid-American Unity, and they actually got kicked out of the tournament because one player tested positive, and there was a little bit more to it, so they got replaced. And I thought they probably had a good chance of kind of making it decently far because they did well last year, so I was excited to watch them. I mean, I've watched I guess I've watched a little bit of it, not as much as I wanted to, but
the timing is a little suspicious, wouldn't you say, of kind of where they came out and said, hey, we're going to do completely full contact just for this week until the 15th, and after the 15th we'll assess the situation. Isn't the timing a little suspect?
Well, from my reliable sources, I guess it's okay. But
I love it. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Real quick, guys, want to update. You've seen it on the ticker below. Steve Leslie breaking the news here at YSN. All games at Scene Park are canceled tonight. We're running the ticker at the bottom. So thanks to Steve for always bailing us out and giving us the heads up on that. So there are no games tonight at Scene Park. Michael is heartbroken now, and I think I have to give him a ride home.
I don't know about that, but if you see me on my phone this whole time, it's been me texting to make sure I've got a ride home from HQ.
There it is.
So
that a boy.
DJ, you're off the hook right now.
Shout out to mom and dad. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's very interesting. We've got a nice comment here from Dave. You wear a mask because by the time you find out someone has the virus, it's too late. Anytime you're out in public, wear a mask. I can't say I'm one of those guys. I when I'm out in public, I would rather not. You know what I mean? Because it's not that I'm trying to be a hard ass. It's just because I choose to be free, and I can die in a car accident. That doesn't mean that I don't drive. You know what I mean? I keep hearing the seatbelt excuse. You always wear a seatbelt when you drive. Yes, I do, because you can always get in an accident. But there's a better chance of you getting in an accident and dying right now than COVID. And I'm okay with that. I know that I'm negative, and it is a little scary in the universe right now, but I'm taking my freedoms and I'm taking my choice, and I choose not to wear a mask. And if that makes me an ignorant pig, then so be it. I'm not these two guys up in the corner. It's so weird to do backwards. You guys have the mask.
I want to point this way to.
I have this thing, right? The whatever it's called, the I don't know, what do we call it, Quinn?
What is that thing called? Bailey has one of these things too.
The gator.
Yeah, the gator. That's what it is. I got that.
Bailey wears it as a do-rag too. So
yeah, you can wear it like 17 different ways. I thought the versatility was worth the $10. But I mean, it's just not me. Like,
yeah, I got like 5 of them for $20. It was awesome.
That a boy. So
I'm gonna be honest, DJ. I hate wearing a mask, but if it means if we have football season, I'm gonna wear a mask.
I'm with you.
That's
that's fine.
I wear a mask out in public just as a precaution, because I don't want to take any risk of being the one who pokes that hole that cancels football season.
So here's my problem. I'm not a doctor, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. Here's my problem with wearing a mask. Okay. Number one, if I can smell a fart through underwear and denim jeans, then that means that there's follicles or particles getting into my nose that I can smell it. So what is this gonna do to keep me away from corona? Like, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, if corona's got any bit of like to a fart, then we're in bigger trouble than wearing masks or not. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not trying to be a funny guy, but that's just how I feel.
I feel
a worldwide pandemic to a fart.
Some people's farts are worldwide pandemics.
Steve.
Yes,
I know those people.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I guess to discredit your smelling versus droplets. I mean, that's the bigger thing, is when you talk or whatnot, they're more concerned about the droplets. I'm kind of against masks to begin with. I think whatever, it is what it is. If it means that I can go coach basketball, then I'm obviously going to do it. But the people wearing masks in cars, I don't understand. That's just stupid. And I think common sense is a hell of a drug. You don't need to wear a mask everywhere you go outside. Don't sniff people. Obviously, you do, but don't.
I don't do it on purpose. I'm not smelling farts for like a job.
Don't go around and like lick their foreheads. Wash your hands. Be courteous. If you're not feeling well, keep your distance. It's common sense things that you were taught in kindergarten. It's like we have to reiterate every day now, because there's a pandemic and people forget how to have common courtesy. So
worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, don't lick people, and keep your distance, and I think you'll be okay.
And you'll be all right. The comment that was interesting to me is spitting is like blinking, and they're comparing that to Major League Baseball player came out and said that today. It's on ESPN.com. And if you've ever played baseball, you've got used to spitting out just the dust that gets in your mouth and just habit, right? You don't even know you're doing it 90% of the time. You just do it. It's the same way that basketball players lick their shoes and do all that stuff that you do to keep your stickiness on the floor, so to speak. What happens if, guys, you look at this and you see it on ESPN and some dude just decides to, spit? It goes out there. Are there suspensions? Is it, does he have to get automatically tested? Like if you fall in a parking lot at work, you know what I mean? It's one of those situations. I don't get it. I don't. I do within a point, but then I don't. Like, what are they going to do if something happens? Like, is that player ejected? How does that work? And if you're the commissioner, which any one of us could be a better commissioner than Rob Manfred right now, so we'll put it all in your hands and say, if you were the commissioner, how would you handle it? And Quinn, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, what about the rest of us? Like, why can't you can go out there and spit in the parking lot for the hell of it, or why do they only have to do it just because they're playing? Like, I don't understand it.
What, baseball players?
Yeah, just because they're playing in a field with no fans, what's the big deal?
In the public eye.
Well, I mean, here's what they do a lot. I was guilty of this all the time. I am a spitter in my glove, and then I wipe my glove, right, to get that stickiness, tackiness into it.
Right.
The same way basketball players do with their shoes. I mean, I've seen you do it, literally, Quinn. You're not even playing basketball. You're over there playing Wii, and you lick your hand, and then you wipe your shoe.
Got to get traction and plant. That way you can swing the bat.
How is that any different?
I 99-0 you, Quinn.
That's why you haven't beaten me yet, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, we haven't played in Wii Sports baseball, but okay.
What's the difference between Mike Trout spitting on his glove or whatever and you spitting in the parking lot? You spitting in the parking lot is going to affect more people than Trout spitting his glove.
His spit's worth a hell of a lot more than mine.
His spit's $1 He's got a camera on him 24/7. That's why.
If he spit in the parking lot, I'm probably picking it up to get the DNA and try to create a clone of Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean, it's pointless. It's stupid in my mind. It's dumb. I don't understand it.
So this is a non-factor for you. You don't care if you see him spit on TV.
I'm picking up Mike Trout.
You know it just as well as I do. If I'm sitting there watching a baseball game, we got bigger problems to worry about for me.
The biggest fan of baseball I know. All right, next topic. Esports takeover. This is a kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. A lot of people don't consider esports and gaming a real sport. I'm starting to buy in, guys, and I'm starting to buy in big because in February of this year, has become a $1.1 billion service. And you look at that, and it's legit, and it's Corona-proof. So when you look at that, the new world of sports, in my humble opinion, has to include esports. What say you?
I think that it's in there in the name. You have esports, which are essentially computerized sports. I don't think that you could essentially label it a physical sport, but it has in the name. They're computerized sports, so it's something to watch that has competition. There's a difference between calling esports a sport and competitive cheerleading a sport, because competitive cheerleading is I see no point in the sports in that. Neither of them are physical sports. But esports has actual sports that is just computerized. It's just a computerized form of sports. It's not a physical sport, but it is a sport. And with it becoming a $1.1 billion industry market, whatever you want to call it, I definitely think that it has earned its title as one of the new sports, per se, one of the top growing sports in the world, because DJ, you said it yourself. This is one of the fastest growing industries we've seen in a while.
I am going to firstly completely pull the rug from under your feet and tell you that competitive cheerleading is an unbelievable sport. And it is like if you see some of the things that they do.
Look, they do great things. I see it. I just don't think that it's an overall sport.
Michael, God love you, buddy.
Yeah,
Bro, go do
have
a
fun.
backflip.
God love you. Yeah, do a backflip, cartwheel, all that stuff.
Not a chance.
Like,
They're way more athletic than golfers. I'll tell you that right now.
Yes, they are.
Good luck with that. I'm not going to touch that part.
Yeah, I know that they're athletes. I am all behind them because I've seen what they do. I know what they do, and the attention to detail that you have to do 5 backflips in a row, or to do I don't even know what they call it. The words escape me as to what they do when they launch somebody that's 110 pounds, 110 feet in the air, and try to catch them like a fair catch in football. Like it's amazing. So to call them non-athletes and it's not a sport, you're on your own, brother. Stand tall.
All right, I will.
For you guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on esports?
I mean, I'm all for it. Why not? I mean, it's going to come anyways, whether I care or not, like support it or not. It's coming. The revenue side of it. I mean, being as business driven and money driven as I am, I mean, like it's coming, and it's a huge market, just waiting to be tapped into, basically. So it's $1 billion or whatever doesn't really surprise me at this point.
$1.1 billion. That's incredible. And the gaming industry is completely separate. This is just esports. EB, if you could go back and be 12 all over again, would esports be something that you'd buy into?
Maybe a little. I mean, I wasn't a big gamer, but I was always like, I guess we played Madden on back in the day on like PS2. I don't even know.
It was a different time, though.
I don't even know what they're up to now, like PS5, and it's mind blowing. But I'll take anyone on in Tecmo Super Bowl, like 64-bit. That's cool. That's about where I'm at. But no, I think it's all going to happen. Like it's just a change as gaming evolves. So's this industry, and it's on tap. So you think 1.1 billion's bad? Give it like 5 years, and it's going to be 25 billion or 50 billion, and you're going to be like, damn, I wish I really would have invested in that in 2020, because it'll blow up. And then as soon as people learn how to market off of it, and these teams can really play and make even more money off of it, it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I know that there's one team around here in our area that is looking to start an esports team, and I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see our particular area grow into that and kind of reach out of their comfort zone and jump in. So will be interesting. Michael, this is a topic we want to lean on you for. The 2021 MLB schedule has been released. Why the hell do we care?
I don't know why the hell we should care in July when we're waiting for the 2020 MLB season to start in the middle of a global pandemic. I see no reason to release the MLB schedule at this point, because I personally believe that unless you believe that this thing is going to be around in the summer of 2021, which nobody in their right mind thinks it's going to be around by April 1st next year, which is the scheduled opening day. I don't know why you're releasing the schedule right now, and I don't know why we're doing the same exact opponents essentially on your schedule, aside from adding the NL East or the NL West when you're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates to your schedule. It's going to be the AL Central, same interleague opponents, because they wanted to do it based off of geographic location in preparation of this thing not having a vaccine by April, which everybody anticipates this thing to at least have gone away, possibly a vaccine by that time. I see no reason to make a schedule right now, and especially base it off of geographic locations as the MLB did.
Interestingly enough, you guys even care that the MLB schedule came out before we even started the 2020 season?
Absolutely.
Not one bit.
All in. Let's go. Bring it.
Can you name 6 players on the Pirates, Quinn?
I couldn't name 6 players in the MLB.
That's why you're our favorite.
I think glove. Let's go.
I think this is a marketing gimmick for Major League Baseball to point to for next year. Whenever the games start here over the next couple weeks, I think they're going to say, "Oh, but when next year happens, we'll play this team and this team." Like, this is the time of year that it comes out anyway, and I think they just got caught up in all the hype and are trying to promote things that are invisible right now. You know, things that they have no idea and get people excited. And number one, EB, you know this better than anybody. What are they trying to do? They're trying to sell tickets for next year and trying to recoup some of that money that they're going to lose this year. So it'll be interesting to me to see if the ticket numbers are down, because I think people are going to enjoy the streaming side of things here over the next 60 games or so in Major League Baseball, and not being able to go to games, not having to go to games and feeling like they have to because some announcer tells them that that they're cheap if they don't. You know, you look at it and you go, listen, baseball to me is better whenever I can watch it at my own leisure. If I can listen to it on my back patio, or if I'm on the mower, you know what I mean? Things where you're not going anywhere. You just need something to take your mind off of stuff. That's where baseball is good. Football, you have to focus. Basketball, you have to focus on the actual play. Baseball, the picture can be painted in your mind via radio or via streaming. So for me, this is just a gimmick that fell flat on its face. And once again, Major League Baseball is a terrible marketed sport, and it's never been good, and it's only getting worse. So I'm glad nobody else cares. You guys are all in the same boat with me. That brings us to, you know what time it is, Quinn. Your favorite time of the hour. It is the G. Berbick Farms. What's your beef? Yesterday you had 4. You set the expectations and the standard so high. What do you have today to take us to the weekend, buddy?
More scooters. I racked up more scooter fees. What else?
Them scooters are expensive.
Yeah, they are. It's like it'll get you about $5 a ride, basically.
Walk your own 2 feet.
Michael, I'm fat and lazy. I don't like walking, so I'm gonna take the scooter.
My dad could
what else?
walk in Indianapolis more than you could.
Your dad's probably more athletic than I am, too, so it's okay.
I can tell you right now, Quinn, he is not.
Can he get
You'd
further
be surprised.
than 3 feet
Listen,
in a
there's
40-yard dash?
right next to the hotel. I wanted to ride a scooter because I didn't want to walk.
What are the scooter fees up to at this point?
I think I'm over 100. I think so.
You doubled your fees from yesterday?
No, he said he was at 60
weekly
yesterday, so it's nearly
total, I'm
doubled.
over 100.
It's nearly doubled. He was at 60 yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's still
We went out to
extra
some ice cream
fees.
store like 20 minutes away, so. Yeah.
Dude, you're
scooter-
better off to take an Uber.
What else? Indianapolis has these mask rules that I don't like. I think they're stupid. You gotta wear a mask to walk into a restaurant. I walked like 5 feet to my table and I was able to take it off. I think that's
Oh yeah, that's stupid. I've been in a couple restaurants that have been like that right now. Yes,
yeah, it's ridiculous. And I'm all in on that, Michael. Please do. Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Scooter rides. I don't know how much.
$100 to recoup Quinn's losses from scooter fees in Indianapolis.
Your paycheck from us is basically a GoFundMe. I don't know, like it's ridiculous.
It's okay. You're paying for my scooter rides, basically.
That's yeah. I mean,
But,
we're just gonna make it your Quinn scooter fund, and then put it in a mason jar on your desk. Billy McCartney not happy about the games getting canceled tonight. He follows it up.
We're all in the same boat with that, Billy.
Says I need baseball tonight. My beef. So that's his G. Berbick Farms. What's his beef? What else you got, Q? You got anything?
Yeah, I got one more thing. I'm tired of seeing that stupid little Michael Jordan thing in the corner. I went a long time without seeing it, and I was happy. That's the end of it.
Love it. Love it. The GOAT right there. He is the GOAT.
I don't. Jersey's nice.
GOAT.
Set. Nice. I just don't want to see it. That's all.
Wait till you see the new. Wait till you see the new shoes, man. I'm waiting to bust them out just for you.
I can't wait.
EB, welcome to G. Berbick Farm. What's your beef? What beef you got?
My beef is that Quinn's not going to get this Mountain Dew challenge.
No, I'm getting it, man.
2 states away.
I'm getting it. I'm 2 states away.
And it ends, I think, today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Quinn, come on. Come on, man.
I've raided the gas station. I need Kansas and Louisiana.
You're in Indianapolis.
Can't find any. I raided the Speedway. There's nothing there.
All right, wait. What are they? Kansas
and Louisiana.
Kansas and Louisiana. Somebody get us some Kansas and Louisiana.
Kansas and Louisiana. All right, so if you're out there and you like Mountain Dew, or you're going to a store and you see Kansas and Louisiana, pick it up and send it to us. Do not scan it. Send it to us. We'll get it to Quinn, and we should be okay. Anthony Hartley chiming in saying, Kansas, you should have told me. I could get that quick. He's in Kansas City, which is in Missouri, coincidentally, if you're not Donald Trump. So that's interestingly enough, like Anthony could have had it. Anthony, you knew this was happening. Like we've been promoting this. Quinn's got a blog. His entire life depends on this. It's $500,000 to us, to YSN. Let's go. Louisiana and Kansas. I'm gonna go over to the Circle K and I'm gonna find Louisiana and Kansas for you, my friend. I don't care who.
To tell you how desperate I am to find this, like I've bought Diet Dews just for the thing, and then I've thrown them away.
Ew, Diet
Just
Dews,
to
gross.
I haven't drank them. I just bought them because I need the label and the scan, and
I also want to let you know that we have figured out the taste test. When you come back next week, we will have the YSN taste test of the mountains. Okay, we're calling it Mount Quinmore, and we are going to put different tasting Mountain Dews of all different varieties in it. And you said to me, under oath, that you know how to pick them out. So we've got Misty something in the back. It's nice and cold. It's waiting for you. We're going to get all the variations of Mountain Dew, and you're going to have to tell us which one is which. And I guarantee you fail miserably.
That's what I won't. I'll do better than
we got to broadcast that. We got to make sure people see this.
Well, we're going to tape it. We're definitely going to have it mic'd up. So we'll have to make sure EB's here too, because I feel like he's not going to let you wiggle off the hook like some of these other guys would. Michael, what's your beef?
My beef is that it's not so much locally, but it's the fact that when you talk about the MLB and the NBA coronavirus testing, if you take away some of these top players in the NBA, like Quinn and EB, we're talking about earlier, like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic. You take away a decent chunk of those big name players, and Adam Silver's probably shutting down the NBA because that's a lot of big name, big market guys that bring in a lot of revenue for the NBA. Same thing in the MLB when you get a lot of these big guys tested positive, like Bryce Harper, like Mike Trout, like Clayton Kershaw. A lot of those guys test positive. You're probably shutting down the MLB even if you have enough guys to play a game, because both these leagues, even though at the end of the day it is a business, I think that the business could survive without the big brand, big name players, because not 100% of them are going to be testing positive. Even if it is 80%, you still got those 20% of guys who can still bring in a decent chunk of revenue in these uncertain times. Yet Manfred and Silver will, I would bet money, you take away that 50% of the big name guys, they're shutting down the leagues again, and we're back to just Class B baseball, which I'm completely fine with. But national standpoint, not good.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I really do. My G. Burdick Farms beef would be that I guess I'm tired of people not understanding what streaming does for them, for their kids, for their kids' careers in sports and whatever. What we do, basically, to put it all out there, gives parents the opportunity to be at two places at one time. So these streaming games that we do for Scene Park, they get it. They understand it. The value is there, even if they're not paying for anything, right? If they had to pay, they would. And we have people that pay for $2.99 to watch their kids and to stack their recruitment video. What I don't get is parents or teams or organizations that don't understand that this is the future. Streaming is necessary, and high-speed streaming is absolutely crucial. So if you're out there, you don't understand what streaming is, the streaming supermen here at YSN will tell you what it's all about and why it's important and why you should get on board. And that's my beef, brought to you by G. Burbick Farms. Visit them on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Guys, any last thoughts before we head off for the weekend?
Look, I saw Quinn eat vegetables, so that's a plus.
I did. I ate a vegetable.
He had a
salad for lunch today.
Wait. Was it a salad or was it a vegetable?
Veggies.
I ate 2 pieces of celery and a salad.
Holy cow.
loaded tater tots.
That's how I know we're gonna make it through this pandemic.
Guys, there is hope at the end of the tunnel. The light is there. Quinn, thank you so much for giving us all hope to make it through the weekend. Congratulations on eating your first ever vegetable. We're proud of you. Your body's probably going to go in shock in about 38 seconds. So that's going to do it for the YSN Power Hour. I want to thank Quinn. I want to thank Eric. I want to thank Mike. And every one of you that watched us this week. We'll be back Monday at 3 right here on your sports network. Have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you then.